A man risked his life to save a wolf from a cliff. But, having risen to the ground, the wolf did something shocking. High in the mountains of Patagonia, where a strong wind howls between the rocks like an ancient spirit, and the sky seems closer to the earth than the earth itself, there lived an old wolf. His eyes had long since lost the brightness of a hunter, but deep inside, the fire of the past still smoldered. He lived far from people, from his pack, from memories that increasingly became as elusive as mirages. His gait was no longer springy. The muscles weakened, the paws trembled in the mornings, and the once thick fur thinned with each passing day. Once he was a leader, strong, respected, unshakable. His howl echoed through the valleys, like a call to life, like a warning, and like a sign of strength. He led the pack through times of plenty and famine, through cruel winters and bloody battles with strangers. His life was full of battles, but also full of meaning. He felt like he was part of something bigger, a family, a clan, an ancient order. He remembered every step of those times. He remembered how he led young wolves on a hunt, how in the evening he returned to the den, where those who believed in him were waiting. But nothing lasts forever. Time does not ask permission. It just takes its toll. Old age does not come suddenly. It creeps up slowly and patiently, draining your strength from within. At first, he couldn't catch the rabbit. Then he didn't hear any footsteps. Then he broke off his thong, unable to pierce the deer's skin. The day he realized he could no longer be a leader, he did not wait to be expelled. He left on his own, silently, without a farewell howl, as befits a leader. He didn't turn around. The pack was left behind, children, grandchildren, friends, rivals. Now his path lay where loneliness and stones reign, where only the wind can speak. Among the harsh ridges that were like the bones of the earth, he found a crevice between the rocks, narrow, damp, but safe. Here he began to live differently, not as a leader, not as a hunter, but as a shadow of the past. The days dragged on one after another. The morning began with a cautious exit outside, muzzle to the wind, ears catching sounds, nostrils searching for smells. Sometimes luck brought a hare or a stupid bird. Sometimes emptiness and wind. Then he would lie down, curled up, and listen to the world breathe. He remembered. Faces, smells, sounds. What had once been a whole life. In his dreams, he was again racing across the steppe, feeling the strength in every paw, hearing the breathing of the pack behind him. He woke up from these dreams with pain in his heart. One day, after several days without food, he noticed a young deer on a high ledge. The deer did not notice him. The wind was on the wolf's side. It was a rare opportunity, maybe the last one. Instincts came alive. Adrenaline rushed, like in his youth. Gathering all that was left of his strength, he rushed forward. Stones were falling under his paws. The air was cutting his throat. His heart was thundering in his chest. The wolf did not stop. The deer, sensing danger, rushed down the slope where the ground became treacherous. The old wolf, forgetting about pain and time, chased after him until his paw slipped. In an instant, the edge of the cliff, claws dug into the stone, under it, emptiness. The wind howled in the abyss, raising dust and small leaves. He didn't howl in fear. He growled from rage. On himself, on fate, in old age which slowly but surely took its toll. He tried to pull himself up. The stones fell. The paws were sliding. He suddenly thought, what if this is the end? It was not death that frightened him. It was only a transition. The emptiness was frightening. The thought that he would disappear without a trace. That no one will know that he fought, that he did not give up. The thought that his howl would one day be forgotten frightened him. But, gritting his teeth, he tried to pull himself up again. Because even at the last second, you can't betray yourself. And just then, on the narrow path below, an SUV drove by. Behind the wheel sat Raoul, a nature conservation inspector. He knew these mountains like the back of his hand. He could even hear what the wind was hiding. And he heard, turned off the engine, came out, looked around. Through the gray stones he saw a silhouette. A wolf hanging on the edge of a cliff, One step and it would all be over. Raoul moved slowly. He knew any movement and the beast would break loose. He lay down at the edge and spoke quietly. I am here, calmly. I will help. The wolf opened his eyes. The look was dim, but there was a flicker of understanding in it. He didn't growl, just looked. Raoul slowly extended his hands and took the paws. He felt every muscle tremble, as the life almost left the predator. The man made a slow, difficult jerk. The stone slipped. The earth crumbled. But he didn't let go. Raoul, pulling the wolf to the edge, also remembered. Once he was late. The bear, exhausted, fell into a trap. He came the next day, but it was too late. He often thought about that look. Now he saw the same eyes, tired but alive. And he knew, if it was possible to save, it had to be saved. Not because it has to be that way, because otherwise you yourself turn into stone. The minutes stretched into eternity. But at some point, the wolf found himself on the ground. Collapsed, but alive. Raoul leaned back, breathing heavily. They sat next to each other. Not a word, just breathing. Only the realization. They survived together. The wolf came closer. Raoul froze, but the wolf did not growl. He bowed his head and pressed his ears. A simple gesture, but there was more in it than all the words. Gratitude, trust, confession. Raoul put his hand on his shoulder. It was a moment beyond the ordinary. It was as if Patagonia itself had stopped breathing. The sun slowly broke through the clouds. The wind died down. The wolf, having regained his strength, slowly followed the man. They reached the car. The wolf stopped. Their gazes met. There was no animal in those eyes. They contained a soul that had lived a whole life. Raoul got into the car. The wolf turned away and went back to the mountains. His steps were heavy, but there was a new firmness in them. He knew it was not all over yet. When the sound of the engine disappeared around the bend, the wolf stopped, raised his muzzle and howled. Not from pain, not from fear, but in gratitude. Something inside the man trembled. He knew it wasn't every day that you became a part of someone's life. And it's not every day that you meet a soul that speaks to you without words. Dear viewers, what do you think about this story? Please tell us in the comments. And if you liked this video, then like it and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye.